So if you're ready, let's kick it. So at the beginning, you will see that our logo for the 30 years anniversary in SATEL. We have 30 years already on market. Exactly in June, we will have it. So we are very proud of it, and we will be happy to show you all the new things on the webinars that will be soon available also. From what I know, next week are perfecta. So if you really want to join, contact your, and you still didn't receive your invitation, contact your export manager from SATEL company to give you this link to be able to join in. We will be talking about perfecta first of all, and what it is and how it works. But also later on, there will be more technical part with the programming to show you how fast you can program panel, easy and fast installation. Alrighty, so let's go. So today I would like to present you our new slimline motion detectors. This is new, our product. It has like a 4 or 5 months already on market, but yeah, we will show you this today. There is 10 different detectors that looks exactly the same with all the features inside that we will be talking later on. So yeah, we have 5 PIR modules and 5 DT, so dual technology PIR and microwave. All of them are grade 2, few of them are grade 3, depending on what type we are talking about. And quite, I think, most important that we are sure that this detector will work for the many years is that we're giving a 5-year warranty for all of them. So this could increase how long you will use this detector for the next few years at least. So one of the biggest changes that we implemented is design. So all of the detectors looks exactly the same. This gives us few features. For example, intruder is not able to detect what type of detector he's trying to avoid or go under it. So it doesn't matter which one of the detectors, they all look the same way, and it shouldn't be any problem with recognizing at least. But also give us a quite important thing that it's more and more common about how the installation looks. So already we won few prizes regarding how the detector looks. So design prizes, and yeah, they look a lot modern. I hope you will agree with me. Okay, Marco, I see that you have tiny again. I hope it's better, but do you see the presentation? Because presentation is more important than my face in this case. Okay. So yeah, modern design, I think it will be quite important for more and more end users. Second, yeah. Next part that we changed, and it's quite important, is the lens. A lens give you if the lens is done properly, give you a lot of more possibilities and more efficiency of the sensor that is inside the detector. So our lens is designed and manufactured in Japan, only specially for us, and give us a few unique designs contributing. For example, that is increasing detection efficiency of the sensor that is inside. Quite important part is the resistance to deformation. This is very important, especially if you working with the detector for many years. Please remember that the lens, the plastic of the lens is more thin than the rest of the enclosure of the detector. So it's more, it's less resistant for all the deformation. And our is especially prepared to be working for many, many years without additional change. And what if something deforms as the lens? It gives you a false alarms and change how the detector is working. The same as in camera. If you use a low quality lens, your pictures will be lower quality in general and with the deformations. And of course, there is one more thing that we design in the detector that you could replace quite easily the lens for a few different lenses like curtain lens or long range. So you will be able to choose between the lenses inside the detector. Yeah, and also design. So most of the our detectors have a range the coverage of the area from 20 to 24 meters at 90 degrees view angle. So more or less, at least the 90 degrees angle is more or less standard on market, but the area is quite big for the most uses. Inside the detector, we implemented new type of sensors. This is very important because if you look at market, you will see that many detectors use old technology. What gives us this possibility? First of all, we put a new detection algorithm inside the detector. This is very, very interesting because we put around 20 to 25 years of our experience on creating PIR and microwave detectors. 1 second, I see, did we have some questions? These detectors are only internal ones, so indoor only use. But I hope my colleagues will answer these questions. Okay, so yeah, around 20 years of experience in the detection algorithm that helps us to avoid many problems. For example, false alarms that could happen, and what the sensors are giving information to detector. So also this also increase our possibility to detect intruders more with the bigger sensitivity and be more precise about how the detector is working. Next very important part that we also implemented is the temperature compensation. So you can use this detector in many different environments. Also in the places like with high temperature, the difference between the intruder and the environment is quite low. So this will give you a proper reading. And quite important right now, more and more important, is RF interference immunity, because even in the simple residential environment, you will see more and more radio and RF transmissions going inside. So this could trigger, in general, it could trigger the detector and how it works. We are sure that there is no possibility for our detector to be any kind of have any kind of issues with RF interference. Okay, next part is that we implemented in our detector is the creep zone protection. So every our detector has at least Luna and Pro versions have a mirror inside the detector. Right now I'll show it to you. That you can change the angle, and then the part of the sensor will look under the detector. I hope you all know what the creep detection or creep zone detection there is, what it is. So if someone goes under the detector, so it also will triggering it will violate the detector. So this is our Luna detector. So if we open a cover, I hope you will be able to see with resolution of my camera. In here you have a possibility to change the angle of the mirror and inside. So in here you will see a mirror. I hope you will see at least that it's moving. So this is the part that you can describe how the creep zone, if the creep zone is there or not. And you can set it in every different detector separately. Of course, this also gives you a few solutions, like for example, if you install this detector very close to the door, and when someone goes into the room, he will need to go, for example, in the middle of the room to be able to for the sensors to see him. With the creep zone, you are looking exactly under the detector, so faster reaction from the PIR and from the detector. Let's go back to presentation. Alrighty. So next, quite important part is that we are using a new type of enclosure, and this is something that will you will see on many moments in this detector, because we try one of the most important thoughts that we wanted to implement with the new line of detectors is how fast the installer will install it. This is something for you, maybe not your client, but mostly for you, about the installation and how fast you install it. So you have a possibility to use a replaceable and 10 terminal blocks. So if you open the detector, so we remove the cover, you will see the PCB, and you can just sliding down remove the PCB, and inside you have terminal block. So if you put the cable in the hole in here, as you see in here, you just terminate the cable, and depending on, of course, on you could take this with you, and on commission time, you just go in, slide it in, pop it up, so the PCB is inside and you are ready to go. Yeah, you could also close the cover, but you are ready to go. As you see, also no screws and all the stuff, so this will be quite fast and easy for the installation. Also, there is a lot of space inside there for cable management. So if you put a cable in here, it's quite easy to put it very close to the enclosure, and then it's quite easy to close it, and there is no possibility for the short circuit. So it's quite fast and quite easy. Of course, this is available in Luna and Pro version. Okay. So yeah, also you will see inside the detector that there is a integrated end-of-line resistors on top, as you see on the picture, and yeah, it's again something that will speed up installation. For sure, if you ever install old detectors, you approached resistors, like separate resistors that you need to take to screw them, put them inside the terminal, and then connect cable. It takes a lot of time with the installation. So in here, you just terminate the cables, put the cables in the terminator, and then just change the resistance. As the default is set for the SATEL, so 1K1, but also you can use different one inside the detector. Of course, detector supports NC, 2 EOL NC, and 3 EOL NC, depending on how you put resistors inside there. And this again should speed up installation time by not fiddling with all the separate resistors inside the system. Okay. Okay. In addition, in this type of detectors, you will have a possibility to change the parameters of the detector. So most common, of course, sensitivity for every detector inside. So for every sensor inside. So separately for the PIR and of course separately for the microwave if you are using. You have possibility to change the light of the indicator. So we implemented their RGB light as the main, as you see the blue one on the screen, so the main one. You have RGB, so you can choose from the 7 different colors. But of course, there is a, depending of course on the detector, you have a few other, how they work. Operating module also for Luna and Pro, so how the detector will work. We'll talk about it a little later on. And LED lighting pattern for Luna. So Luna is, I hope you already know, there is a additional bright LEDs inside there that give you in additional source of light. For example, if there is a power surge or anything else, depending on how you configure system. So if you are, so you can use this information or this light of this light source as the additional feature inside the system, and you can describe it how it works as the standalone inside the detector, or you can just put it there as the, for example, if there is a triggered by the panel, if you like. And in addition, depending, of course, of the type of the detector, you have a potentiometers. So with the entry-level detectors, you have a potentiometers. With the more advanced, like Luna and Pro version, you will have buttons in here. Or additional thing that could be quite interesting is you can use OPT1 key fob from the detectors like Opal and Agate to change the values. So you have a key fob that you can change the values of the same as you press the buttons in the detector. This speeds up a lot installation, especially if your technician installer is doing a one-man job. So you don't need to go on the ladder, change the sensitivity, close the cover, go back from to the room, walk, check if their sensitivity is proper. If not, go back on the ladder again, open the detector, change the sensitivity, etc., etc. So you just could stand in the middle of the room, see the detection, move. If it's too low or too high, you can always use a key fob to change it to low to change it to fit your what you need from the detector. So this will speed up installation again quite intensively. Alrighty. So yeah, what I described and give you a faster configuration of the detector, especially that OPT1 you can use with different detectors, and you are not only working with one detector, but many of them. So normally, as the installer, you will need only one to have. Okay, again, quick and easy installation. So few features that are in here. So first of all, no screw. No screws inside the detector. So you can just turn and then cover will pop up. Now you can open it. So this is, again, you won't lose any screws and you don't need to go from the ladder to the floor and pick it up and put it back. You won't have any problems with it. Again, if you want to remove PCB, you just remove it like this, quite fast. All the terminals, all the connectors are in here, so they are protected. And then as the detector, we have performance for putting inside the cable, but also mounting holes in here and the tamper in the middle. So it's quite easy for the installation. And if you wanted to close it, it goes very, very fast. You need to hear a click. Then if the power support is connected, you will see blinking lights, so the detector is connected, and then you can close enclosure without any screws, anything else. It's closed, it's secure, so you're ready to go. So this is quite fast and easy for the and speed up installation a lot. Okay. Of course, we have also a bracket with this type of detector, depending, of course, of your regulation in your country. Our detector have a bracket D, and you have different angles to put this detector, depending how do you like. Very important part, this detector is you are able to install it on the wall or on the ceiling. So there shouldn't be any problem with fitting it in the proper position, but also you will have a possibility to use in the Pro version a tamper to be able to be compatible with the grade 3 norms. So there is a tamper that you connect inside the detector. So it should be a solution for all the grade 3 installations in there. Of course, if you wanted to, you can replace a lens, as we talked before. So you have 3 different types of lenses. WD, wide, fitted, as standard is as default. So you could use it. It's in every detector that we sell. But of course, if you want, for example, a curtain or long range, you could replace it quite easily inside the detector, and then the field, how the detector is seeing, and the movement is different. I think you all know how curtain works and long range, what it means. Okay, all detectors are grade 2, and the Pro version are grade 3. This is for us very important because, as you see in all our products, we are trying to be compatible with all the grades and norms in the European Union. So grade 3, SLIM-PIR Pro and SLIM Dual Pro. Most common use of this type of detector is in the all high risk environments, high risk buildings. So you have banks, refineries, military, or like I don't know. You know where to install it, I think. So yeah, wherever you need grade 3, you are able to use SLIM-PIR Pro and SLIM Dual Pro. Of course, grade 2 is more common used, but still in most of the residential parts, like also hotels and companies that you wanted to use. So most cases you will see a grade 2 installation. In grade 3, there is a requirement from the detector, like that they support anti-masking function. This is the functionality that give you information about that someone is trying to cover detector. Doesn't matter if the system is armed or not. The detector is able to see that someone is spraying on it with a cover or tape it in any way to not allow detector to see movement. And this information is sent back to system. So the also quite important part is the grade 3 require that this functionality is on infrared, not microwave. It's more reliable as the system works and how it's detecting this information. Also, we have in few of our detectors, like with additional suffix PET, there is PET immunity for every other small animal up to 15 kilograms. Yeah, I have a little bigger dog and like 20 and still without false alarms from it. So it shouldn't be any problem if you want to use it with the dogs. Of course, we have also Luna features. So what I talked about previously, the additional LEDs with the bright white light to give you enough light to show corridor or staircase. So you will see where you're going. Quite important part is that this power supply, in most cases, for this LEDs is taken from the panel. So if there is a power surge or any problems with the turning on the lights in building, you will always have a battery backup for this source of light. Of course, you can remotely control it. It's not only when this detector will see movement, but also you can configure it from the panel, this triggering of this LEDs, so you will be able to control it even remotely. Yeah. In Luna also we implemented two sensitivity modes. So one could be used as when the system is armed. So there is a possibility to trigger with the normal sensitivity as normal detector should work. But also when the, for example, system is disarmed, you are able to switch it to for example, higher sensitivity for the detector to react faster and giving you more faster initiating the lights or informing the panel. This could be also used as the occupation information inside the building or inside the room, because this gives you a lot of one second. Yeah, you can trigger it and change it to this information as you like. Of course, you have also you can switch, for example, to turn off the microwave in there. So if you change the sensitivity to lower microwave, then you have a little more possibilities to work and how the detector is working by using the two different sensitivities. Okay. So there is a 12 different configuration in the Luna. So you have separately PIR for first and second set, the same for microwaves, first and second set. You have how the detector is operating in this parameters, for example, that the microwave is turned off, for example, and how the LED is working, depending on the PIR sensor, and yeah, many other things that you can configure it, how the PIR-LUNA, but also how the additional LEDs are working and how they are triggered inside the detector. As I told you before, we have RGB lighting in the indication LEDs, so you can change the LEDs depending how do you like or how your clients like. So, of course, you can describe that, for example, microwave will be, violation of the microwave will be green and PIR will be different colors. And if they are together, then again, a different color like red for indicating that this information was sent to panel as the information. So, yeah. Few information regarding PIR detectors. We will go a little more into depth of every single detector. So we have SLIM-PIR and SLIM-PIR-PET. So first of all, this is the entry-level detector. So you have only 4 different lights like blue, red, purple, and white as the LED indicator. So it's compatible with the grade 2. You have possibilities to control sensitivity and all the stuff. But quite important parts is that the coverage area of the SLIM-PIR and SLIM-PIR-PET are different. As you see, the the PET is little smaller. This is because of the sensitivity of the detector and the lens. But supports, of course, PET immunity function. And both of them are have integrated EOL resistors 1K1, so it will be easier for the installation. Also, there is yeah. Next, the types of detectors are SLIM-PIR-LUNA and SLIM-PIR-LUNA PET. So this is something that I have right now in my hand that I was showing you. So first of all, grade 2 compatible. You have a possibility to change, of course, sensitivity control. Important function is ability to switch between the two presets, so two sets of sensitivity inside the detector. Little more colors of the LEDs, so you have possibility to choose from the 7 of them. Very important in Luna, from the name at least, is additional white LEDs lighting that you can control and give additional source of light in the room or in the corridor. You can change a configuration or the parameters of the detector from the board, but also by the key fob. This is something that is quite important and quite interesting functionality. Also, coverage, as you see, it's a little bit different for the PET version. It's smaller again, but this is quite normal. Of course, in this type of detector, we can use a creep zone protection. So what we described earlier. And yeah, and you will see that there is, of course, terminal block. This is the most quite important feature to speed up installation, but also integrated resistors. And in here you have a little more types of resistors. So you have 1K1 used by SATEL, but also you have 4.7 kilo ohm and 5.6 kilo ohm that you can choose from the pins. Okay. Okay, SLIM-PIR PIR Pro. So most important is grade 3 compatible. It supports active infrared anti-masking that you can choose and set sensitivity or delay. Again, you have a possibility to do the same as the Luna, use 7 different colors of the LED indicator. Also, you could remotely control, change the how this detector is working by the PCB on the buttons there, or by the OPT1 key fob. The coverage area is 20 by 24 meters, so it's quite it's almost the same as in the Luna, normal Luna. Of course, creep zone protection and all the features that we described a few moments ago, like terminal blocks, like easy opening and closing the detector, but also implement integrated EOL resistors 1K1, 4.7, and 5.6 kilo ohm, respectively. Yeah. And SLIM dual and dual PET. This is a dual technology for the detectors. So first of all, grade 2 compatible. Individual sensitivity for PIR and microwave sensors, 4 colors of the LED indicator, and again you will see that the coverage area is a little smaller for PET version, but of course integrated EOL resistors inside their 1K1. And SLIM dual Luna PET, so grade 2. As we described earlier, indication of sensitivity adjustment for PIR and microwave, 2 different types of sensitivity sets, 7 different colors of LEDs. I don't want to repeat exactly the same. So most important parts will be Luna, so white LED lighting functionality, possibility to use a OPT1 key fob, different range, especially for the Luna PET, and terminal block that you could speed up the installation, and of course 3 different types of resistors built in, same as other detectors. SLIM Dual Pro, grade 3, again active infrared. Yeah, the same, almost the same as the PIR Pro, but of course with the anti-masking, with the microwave built in. So also OPT1 configuration, creep zone, resistors, and terminal blocks. Okay, next quite interesting feature is that doesn't matter which one detector you use. For example, when you're creating a project, you used a PIR, but later on the room where the PIR was there change its specification and starting to be, for example, a technical room that you should use a dual technology. So if you want to use a dual, then you just open the detector, remove PCB, and replace it with the PCB from the dual detector. So without any problems, without any changing of the enclosure, etc., you won't need any problems to change it to any other different types of detector. So this also could speed up the installation and later on the changing the possibilities how the detector works. Also, the same detectors, the same cover is used for the wireless. So if you have any kind of problem on site, like some other installers cut the cable and you lost a possibility to use a cable in this place, you just open the detector, remove PCB, put in there just a PCB from the APT 200, so the wireless detector, put it in, and you are ready to go. Of course, program inside the panel, but you're ready to go as at least from the changing the PCBs. So you don't need to change the cover, change the installation, most cases. Quite fast summary you will see in here. You have all the information, like which one of them have microwave or not. I think it's self-explanatory. If you see a dual, it means it's PIR and microwave. If you see PET, it means it has a PET immunity. Sensitivity control you will see in the middle on the left side with the basic detectors. You will have a potentiometer, so you can, by using a Twizzler, change it. With the on the right side with the high-end detectors like Luna and Pro, you will have buttons that are a little bit easier to configure, and or to use OPT1 to change the configuration of the detectors. Of course, built-in Luna functionality, so additional bright LEDs you will see in detectors with the Luna in the name. And of course, Pro version supports anti-masking in infrared. So all of them are grade 2, grade 3 compatible. All of them have resistors for 1K1 for the SATEL panels. Luna and Pro version also have additional resistors like 4.7 and 5.6 kilo ohm. Also, Luna and Pro version supports a terminal block. Yeah, and of course, different amount of lights and creep zone in the detectors with Luna and Pro without PET. As you see in here, different ranges and coverages depending on the type of lens. So wide WD lens, so default lens, have from 15 to 20 meters or 20 to 24 meters. As the coverage, all of them have 90 degrees. But of course, depending what type of lens you are using, the coverage is changed. Yeah, I think this is quite self-explanatory. Of course, PET version doesn't support changing the changing the lenses. So yeah, it's not supporting them. And of course, PET and creep zone is not working because of the type of the lens. I see already a question there, so I answered it, but I think one of my colleagues also will answer it very fast. Okay, a few advantages that we wanted to put a big mark on it. So a few advantages, especially for the installers. It's most important right now because of the price, how installers, how expensive a professional installer is, and 1 hour of his work. so it's time saving for the installation. By the quick opening, so just without any screws, just rotate and you can open detector, integrated resistors that you don't need to fiddle with the small separate resistors. Remote configuration by using a key fob. This is something very, very important for, especially for the person that is a one-man installation. You can replace the model and easy wiring connection because you don't have any PCB that will block you a possibility to use this terminal. So you just put it in quite easy and fast. Yep, you can quite easy replace the lens. Yep. And of course, you can use this type of detector, especially Luna, but all of these detectors in the smart home and the automation systems. So when the system is armed, you have information about the intruder. But of course, if the system is disarmed, you can use this information for the occupancy or any other information inside the system. For user, advantages are, first of all, I hope you will agree with me, is design. It's quite new and looks quite nice, especially that we have few prizes already about the design. Different LEDs indicators, and that you can control if they are on or off remotely. So this is also quite important. All detectors looks exactly the same, so it shouldn't be any problem how they appear in the building. We found out in the technical department that are in end users that they need to have the same looking detectors inside the system. Of course, additional LED lighting. This is for the Luna detectors. This is quite interesting. And something that is at the end of the list, at the end of the list, but quite important that you can use it in the any kind of smart home or home automatization functionalities. And for the installers and users, most important because of our new technology that we implemented in this detector. So no false alarms. One of the most important is 5 years warranty worldwide. All the devices are manufactured in EU, in Poland, in our company. So we are able to control the quality of these devices. And of course, grade 2, grade 3 compatibility for these detectors. Yeah. In general, this type of detector is by the possibilities inside there and the new functionality that we implemented in there, this will save you money and most important, time on the installations. So unique lens, this will increase efficiency of the sensor, but also, of course, lower the amount of false alarms. Integrated resistors that you don't need to fiddle with all the small separate resistors. It's easier to install it. Screwless cover, so you don't lose any screws. You don't need to go back on the floor to pick it up and put it in. You just pop it and cover is closed. Interchangeable PCB, so you can replace it as you like between the enclosures. And remote sensitivity adjustments by the OPT1 that you can do it remotely without additional hassle to open the detector and change the sensitivity value. Of course, this two last is only for Luna and Pro models only. Okay, guys, do you have any questions? Because we are almost at the end. Okay, I see that my colleague. If you have any questions, most questions that my colleague marked, I will try to answer right now. Also, why it's called the slim line. Okay, why it's slim? Because if you compare it to other detectors, I don't have with me other detectors right now because I replaced in all my in my house all of them. you will see that they are smaller and slimmer comparing to other detectors. So I think this one it's the name of it. It's the slimline, and they are only indoors detectors, wired and wireless, but only indoors. Okay. If I can ask you for next question. Yes, as I remember, the Pro version and Luna is also with the bracket that you can just inside the box. The canvas to view near the detector or pulled inside. View it near the detector or will pull it. I don't exactly understand this question, but you have a few possibilities how you put the cable inside. If you are using bracket, so bracket goes in here, and you can put a cable through the bracket inside the detector. I hope this, but of course, if you are not using bracket, you can make any kind of hole like in here or on the bottom in here to put inside the detector. Yes, all of them have support. The brackets are ceiling and wall bracket, so you can depend how you install it. You can fit it in on the ceiling also. Yeah, exactly. It's, as I remember, 15 kilograms. To be honest, if at least from my experience, if you see 50 kilogram PET immunity, I know that in our company there is a few guys that could easily walk under this detector, and the question is if the intruder is around 50 kilograms, will it trigger the intrusion? So the question is for the information. My colleague said 20 kilograms for the detectors. No, because PET it has a different lens. So if you are using PET detectors, the lens is different and the creep zone is not able to work with. In addition, if you change the creep zone looking under detector, you're sending more sensitive parts of the detection just under detector. So it contradicts how the PET immunity works. PET immunity in general is that the detector on the long range work as the normal sensitivity, but the lower range, so closer to the detector and the lower parts are less sensitive. So if you change the creep zone, it contradicts each other. I don't know, to be honest. I don't have information that Agat will be stopped in the production. From what I heard, Opal and Agat are still in the production, and I don't see any possibility to replace them, especially that Agat you can use outside. So I don't think it will be replaced by this type of detectors. So I think not. Okay. Yes, 2.4 meter is the default. Of course, you have some possibility to a little bit go up or down, but please try to, as the recommended 2.4 meter installation height. Okay, guys, any more questions? Of course, if you don't have questions right now, but it will show up later on, you could always contact our technical department. We will be happy to answer all your questions. Oh, I see one more. The wired and wireless sensor, functionality and aesthetics. The biggest difference between the detector is a little bit how they work, of course, especially with the dual technologies of the microwave and PIR. But in general, the biggest difference is that you don't need the wires, quite simple, and the power supply is from the battery. So depending on the installation, if you have a possibility to use cable, I'm the old, how to say it, I'm always trying to install as the wired system. From my point of view, they are more real in general. But if there is no possibility of the wired system there, then I will choose wireless ABAX 2 right now without any problems, because there is many additional possibilities with the wireless in ABAX 2 right now. It's not exactly a webinar about the ABAX, but for example, you have wireless, so no additional cabling. Installation is quite even faster than with wired ones, but also you have additional information like temperature from the detector, remote configuration, many other things in the ABAX 2 that sometimes give you a little more than the wired ones. And aesthetics, they look exactly the same as Slimline right now, so aesthetics are exactly the same. But very good questions. Okay, any more questions? I see there is addressable. For now, we are not putting any addressable detectors. We will see. We will see in the near future if we will go with addressable sensors. Yes, there are special brackets for these detectors. It's bracket D. Into this 360 degrees version. To be honest, I don't have any information regarding it, but yeah, I think if the market is if market required one of them, I think we will also implement this. But I didn't heard any information that we right now working on it on something like this. Of course, we in our we have aqua ring detector, but it's not from the new line. In the slim, okay. In the slim line, there is a 1K1 in the PIR detectors, PIR and of course in PET, and in Luna and in Pro versions, you have 1K1, 4.7 kilo ohm and 5.6 kilo ohm resistors built in. Okay, any more questions, guys? Okay, if not, of course, if you have more questions, please contact your local distributors. You can contact our technical department or your export managers from SATEL company. Yeah, and we will be happy to answer all your questions. Also, if you want, you can use info.satel.pl to write a question, and yeah, we'll try to answer you as fast as possible. Okay, last more question. Wires needed for the fully functional functionality. Okay, this will be the last question, guys. For the Luna, so it gives you the most possibility because you can control how the sensors, two set of sensors, you can control when the Luna is working, service, so OPT, power support, additional LED of the indicator, how it works. It's up to 8 wires. So 4 is for the power supply and information about the violation, and additional 4 for all the functionality like sensitivity, when the Luna should work, when the LED should work, and service. So key fob possibility to change the functional to sensitivity and options, how it works. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you will join our next webinar. Thank you, Jacek and Bartosz, for helping me with this presentation. I hope you like it, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you, guys, and bye-bye.